Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever felt just totally wiped out, even on days when you haven't really done much physically? Today, we're diving into material from Renewed After 40, specifically looking at 7 habits that may be draining your mental energy. If you're over 40, you might be feeling this deep, lingering fatigue way more often than you realize. It's so incredibly common, and honestly, your feelings are completely valid. We're going to walk through this step by step to help you get some of that mental clarity and resilience back as you age. So why does your brain feel completely drained? You know that feeling when you just collapse on the couch at the end of the day and wonder why you have absolutely zero fuel left in the tank? We always want to blame it on a heavy physical workload or a crazy schedule packed with meetings and errands, but actually, scratch that. It's usually not what's written on your calendar. The real culprits are these subtle, everyday habits that we just do on autopilot without even realizing it. They are silently siphoning off your reserves, drop by drop. Let's start with our first group of habits, the internal mind traps. Before we even look at how the outside world exhausts us, we have to look inward. These are the invisible snares we set for ourselves. First up is constant overthinking. This is repeatedly analyzing the same problem without producing new solutions. Now, thinking is obviously great, right? But there's a huge difference between actually solving a problem and just spinning your wheels. Think about the mental energy you spend replaying a slightly awkward conversation from the office, or lying awake at 2 in the morning worrying about things that literally haven't happened yet. Overthinking kind of tricks you into feeling productive in the moment, but a tired mind is often just a mind that never gets a break from its own loops. And that leads us right into our second habit, which is negative self-talk. This happens anytime you speak to yourself more harshly than you would ever speak to a friend. Seriously, we would never tolerate a colleague or a buddy talking to us the way we talk to ourselves when we make a mistake. Constant self-criticism, perfectionism, and comparing yourself to others take a massive toll on your mental energy. Your brain is always listening to the messages you feed it, and when those messages are constantly negative, it just wears your spirit down. On the flip side, giving yourself a little grace is an absolute game changer for building real resilience. Okay, moving on to external inputs and sleep. We've looked at the internal traps, but obviously we live in a pretty overwhelming external world too. Habit number 3 is a big one: information overload. That means consuming unprecedented, endless streams of daily media and notifications. I mean, from grabbing our phones the absolute second we wake up to check the news, to staring at computer screens for work all day, to getting pinged with messages all night, our brains are a marvel, but they were absolutely not designed to process this endless fire hose of data. It demands so much background processing power, which leaves you completely depleted by dinner time. More information does not always produce more wisdom. That really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? In our modern world, sometimes all this extra information just produces sheer exhaustion. We feel this immense societal pressure to be plugged in constantly and perfectly informed on everything. But honestly, one of the healthiest things you can do for your mind is to occasionally step back, walk outdoors without a device, and intentionally disconnect. Which brings us to habit number 4, poor sleep. It's a disruption in the primary way the brain restores itself. We hear a lot about sleep in the wellness space, and for good reason. It affects nearly everything we do. When sleep quality drops, your concentration tanks, your patience gets much shorter, and making simple decisions feels like a monumental task. You can't just pour an extra cup of coffee on your afternoon brain fog and expect it to fix your sleep hygiene. Getting proper, restful sleep is literally step 1 for true recovery. Next, let's talk about the productivity illusion. These are those societal badges of honor we mistakenly believe make us super efficient, when in reality, they're secretly wearing us down. Habit number 5 is the trap of multitasking, which is divided attention, versus single tasking, which is focused attention. A lot of us take real pride in juggling tasks, right? Answering emails while on a phone call or planning a big project while reading an article. But our brains work so much better when we focus on one single thing at a time. Constantly pivoting between activities requires intense neurological effort. It's like paying a tiny mental toll fee every single time you switch gears. It might feel incredibly efficient, but it's actually surprisingly exhausting. Habit number 6 is constant busyness versus real productivity. Being perpetually busy is something society treats as a badge of honor. People assume if your schedule is packed, you must be highly productive and important. But constant motion leaves zero room for reflection, journaling, or just being still. And without those little moments of pause, fatigue quietly builds up in the background. Real productivity isn't about filling every single minute of the day. It's about doing what matters with clarity. That's exactly why you can feel completely hollowed out, even on days when you've supposedly got a lot done.
Our final hidden drain, habit number 7, is never taking mental breaks. This means moving endlessly from task to task without a single pause. For a lot of us, it's just this breathless cycle. You finish work, you run errands, you come home, you start dinner, you answer a few more emails, and it just continues. There's no buffer. But here's the thing. Your brain requires just as much intentional recovery as your physical body does after a long run.
Recovery is not laziness. Recovery is maintenance. I want you to really let that perspective shift sink in. Taking a few short mental breaks during the day, whether that's sitting quietly with some tea, looking out a window, or just breathing deeply for 2 minutes, is not you slacking off. It is absolutely essential maintenance that supports your focus and emotional balance for the long haul. So where do we go from here? Well, the good news is that awareness creates opportunity. You just need to identify one area to improve, because small, consistent changes matter. Notice that none of the 7 habits we talked about are dramatic or unfixable. Most of them are just very common, socially accepted routines. You don't need to overhaul your entire life by tomorrow morning. Just pick one thing. Maybe decide to leave your phone in the other room when you sleep, or actually take a real 15-minute break for lunch. Those tiny daily adjustments are exactly what produce the most meaningful long-term results.
Ultimately, this whole thing is about protecting your mental space. Your mental energy is one of your most valuable resources in life. It affects how you think, how you feel, how you solve problems, and how you show up for the people you love. Guarding that energy isn't selfish, it is incredibly wise. Healthy aging isn't only about caring for your physical body with diet and exercise. It is equally about caring for your mind and giving it the space it needs to truly rest.
Remember, regaining energy isn't doing more. It is removing what drains it. Sometimes the absolute fastest way to feel better is just letting go of the habits that are quietly exhausting you. Well, if you found this explainer helpful, please take a quick moment to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who might benefit from a little more peace of mind. As you move forward today, I want to leave you with this. Which of those 7 invisible drains are you going to choose to unplug first?